October 17, 1944. Western Germany. Wehrmacht engineer Hans Müller stood on a hillside watching the Rhine River below. His binoculars were steady. His notebook was ready. American troops had reached the East Bank that morning. Müller had blown the bridge himself 3 days earlier. 60 meters of twisted steel sat in the water. The Americans were trapped. He smiled. They'd need weeks to cross. Maybe months. Müller was 52 years old. He'd built bridges across Europe for 20 years. Railroad bridges. Highway bridges. Military bridges over rivers twice this wide. He knew every trick, every shortcut, every method. And he knew one simple truth. You couldn't build a 60-meter bridge in less than 3 weeks. Not with 1,000 men. Not with perfect conditions. The math didn't lie. Then he saw the trucks arriving. Dozens of them. Hundreds of American engineers jumped out. They moved fast. Too fast. Müller checked his watch. 0600 hours. He wrote it down. He'd document their failure. Show Berlin how long Americans really took. Then the first steel beams started moving. Quick thing before we continue. Hit subscribe if you want more incredible WWII stories like this. We're building something special here, and you'll want to be part of it. What Müller watched that day would break every rule he knew about engineering. In 8 hours, American troops built a 60-meter Bailey Bridge strong enough for 30-ton tanks. 8 hours. Müller had calculated 3 weeks minimum. This is the story of how American engineering made the impossible look easy and left German officers speechless. Müller wasn't some rookie. He studied at Berlin Technical University. He built the bridge at Remagen in 1938. 6 months that took. 1,200 workers. The Americans had maybe 300 men down there. He could count them. They worked in teams of 12. Each team knew exactly what to do. No confusion. No delays. They moved like machines. The British invented the Bailey Bridge in 1940. Simple idea. Panels of steel that locked together. 10 feet long. 5 feet tall. Each panel weighed 600 pounds. Light enough for 6 men to carry. Strong enough to hold a tank. The genius was the design. Every panel was identical. Every pin was identical. You could build it in any order. Add panels for length. Stack panels for strength. A child could understand it. But understanding it and building it were different things. The Germans knew about Bailey bridges. They'd captured a few in North Africa. Tested them. Studied them. Sure, they were clever. But building a bridge was still building a bridge. You needed time. You needed perfect conditions. You needed luck. Müller watched the Americans work. The first team laid the foundation. Steel rollers on both banks. The second team started assembling panels on the west bank. Click. Lock. Pin. Click. Lock. Pin. 10 seconds per panel. The bridge grew like a snake. The third team pushed it forward on the rollers. Inch by inch across the gap. The fourth team added the deck. Wood planks over steel. The fifth team tested every joint. The sixth team painted numbers on each section. No foreman was yelling orders. No one looked confused. They'd done this before. Dozens of times. Maybe hundreds. Every man knew his job. Hand signals replaced shouting. The noise was just metal on metal. Hammers on pins. Boots on steel. The bridge kept growing. Müller checked his watch again. 0900 hours. 3 hours in. The bridge was already 20 meters long. 1/3 done. He wrote the numbers down. His hand shook slightly. This was wrong. This violated everything he knew. You couldn't rush engineering. Precision took time. Quality took time. Safety took time. The Americans didn't care what Müller knew. They had a system. They'd practiced it in England. In North Africa. In Italy. In France. Every river. Every gap. Same bridge. Same method. Same speed. Soldiers who couldn't spell engineering were building bridges faster than German master engineers. Here's why it worked. American factories were stamping out Bailey Bridge panels by the thousands. Every panel was perfect. Identical measurements down to the millimeter. German panels were handmade. Slight differences. Filing and fitting on site. The Americans just locked and pinned. No adjustment needed. Training mattered too. American engineer battalions spent months just building Bailey bridges. Building them. Taking them apart. Building them again. In the rain. In mud. In darkness. At night. Under fire. By the time they reached Germany, they could do it blindfolded. Muscle memory. No thinking required. Mueller saw something else. The Americans brought spare everything. Extra panels stacked nearby. Extra pins in boxes. Extra tools on every truck. If something broke, they grabbed a replacement. 30 seconds. Back to work. German engineers had to stop. Report the problem. Request a replacement. Wait for approval. Hours wasted. At noon, Mueller ate lunch. He didn't take his eyes off the bridge. 50 meters now. Almost done. The Americans were adding cross braces. Strengthening joints. A jeep drove out onto the completed section. Testing it. The bridge didn't flex. Didn't shake. Solid as concrete. The last panel went in at 1,400 hours. 8 hours total. Mueller checked his notebook. He'd documented everything. The times. The methods. The team sizes. He'd watched an impossible thing happen. His 3-week estimate was garbage. His 20 years of experience meant nothing. At 1,430 hours, the first Sherman tank rolled across. 30 tons of steel moving at walking speed. The bridge held. Didn't groan. Didn't bend. Just held. More tanks followed. Then trucks. Then jeeps. Then infantry. An entire division crossing on a bridge built in one workday. Mueller walked back to his command post. His commander asked how long the Americans would take. Mueller said 3 weeks. That's what his report said. He couldn't tell the truth. They'd think he was lying. Or drunk. Or insane. No one would believe it. But here's what Mueller didn't know. This wasn't special. This was normal. American engineers built hundreds of these bridges across Europe. Rivers. Valleys. Bomb craters. Anywhere they needed to cross. The 291st Engineer Battalion built 14 Bailey bridges in 6 weeks. The 51st built 23. Speed wasn't luck. Speed was standard. The Americans built over 200 Bailey bridges in Europe during the war. They built them faster every time. The record was 6 hours for a 40-meter bridge. 6 hours. German engineers needed days for simple repairs. Americans built entire bridges in less time than a German morning meeting. Mueller survived the war. He worked construction in West Germany afterward. He never forgot that October morning. Never forgot watching 300 Americans do what he thought was impossible. He told his students the story. Warned them. American efficiency wasn't propaganda. It was real. Terrifying. Unstoppable. America produced enough Bailey bridge panels during WWII to build a bridge from New York to London. Over 3,000 miles of steel. The Germans built maybe 50 bridges in total at the same time. That's the difference. That's why they lost. Thanks for watching. Next time we're covering the B-29 and why Japanese pilots called it the untouchable fortress. These stories need to be told. Hit subscribe. You won't want to miss it.